There are so many interesting, horrifying, or downright weird things in this big world of ours.
Each week, we'll bring you a new true crime story that has little to no coverage in English.
Let us do the translations so you don't have to.
I'm Petra.
I'm Victoria.
And I'm Laura, and welcome back to the podcast, Translation Murder. Yeah, so I'm going this week, and I'm taking us to Sweden, like I already alluded to last
Good.
episode. Yes, and my Swedish accent will not be a Swedish accent, but it'll be a Swedish-speaking Finnish accent, I guess. So I'll just do Finnish accent with the Swedish words.
Not that I could tell the difference. So
Oh, there's a
I don't
huge
mind.
difference. Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, it's totally okay because it's not an accent like foreign accent. It's an existing language.
It is.
Finnish,
Yes.
Swedish,
Yes.
in case
Yeah.
someone doesn't know.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yes. Speaking of linguistics, yes, and there's like a huge population of Swedish-speaking Finns within Finland, so it's legit group of people. So, yeah. So continuing on, this takes place in 2017, so quite recently in Sweden, as I said, and it is more specifically in a place called Hudiksvall, and this city is approximately 297 kilometers north of Stockholm, or about like a 2.5 hour drive or so, according to Google Maps. And as of 2010, which I don't know, on Wikipedia, it had about 15,015 people residing in Hudiksvall. So just as a, background information on this place.
yeah, so not a huge place.
Yeah, and
Yes.
there's like many different like kind of little neighborhoods or whatever that are kind of contained within this Hudiksvall place, and yeah, so it's quite small. I used to live in a town, I think that had like 14,000 within Finland. I think Ikalinen back when I used to live there had like 14,000, so that was
Really,
quite
I
small.
thought it's like something like 7 or something.
I thought it was
Like
14, but maybe you're right, or
could
maybe
be.
I'm wrong, but it was very tiny. So regardless, it's fucking tiny. So I can imagine the amount of people living here. So yeah. So this case, we'll start with the disappearance of 19-year-old Tova Moberg, and she was supposed to be going out with friends on the night of the 13th to the 14th of May. And after which she was reported missing by her family, and she was last seen at 9:30 p.m. on the Saturday, so the 13th was Saturday, and she just disappeared somewhere between the 13th and 14th, and she never showed up to at least one source said that she never showed up to a swimming competition that was supposed to be happening on the Sunday, and she was supposed to take part in it, and she just never showed up. So normally the police don't release photos of victims or like perpetrators immediately, but it was important because, she was thought to be a missing person. So her information was released in hopes that they could find her alive during this time. Okay, so then we'll go to the discovery of Tova. So between Sunday and Monday, so the 14th and 15th, 3 20-something-year-old men were arrested in relation to Tova's disappearance and suspected kidnapping. These 3 guys were seen by a witness coming out of the forest on Sunday night, and they were suspiciously hiding their faces, like just, walking out of a forest and like obscuring their faces from anybody who might be watching. So this one guy
Not
was like, that's a
suspicious at
little
all.
bit, yeah, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Well, you kind of are. So, yeah. So this guy kind of noted that down, and yeah, so that's how we kind of get this suspect list, at least, initial suspect list. Meanwhile, during this time, about 50 police officers, some equipped with dogs, and there was even a helicopter that was searching the rural farm-like area that is where she was last seen or last heard to be seen or witnessed at. And most of the heavy search took place here on Monday, the 15th of May. But, and this was, like I said, like Tova's phone was last turned on near a place here. So they kind of used like eyewitness accounts and like not eyewitness accounts, but kind of like accounts from people that she knew, and then also her phone record
Mhm.
from towers and stuff. So yeah, that's something that I always find like funny, that modern day killers or people who disappear other people or whatever, like they never think about the phones. They just like, oh well, if I just turn it off or destroy it, it's all good, right? Like I can just get rid of it and then it won't have any evidence after that. But that's never the case.
Yeah.
So
Or maybe nowadays they think about it more, but I don't know. This was in 2007, right?
17.
17. Ah, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. So
Is to say, in our infamous first episode where the women thought that deleting the Facebook messages will do that job.
true. Yes.
I don't think
Is
many
it an
people.
infamous episode?
I don't
I
know.
mean, like,
It's the first episode at least.
yeah, and
Uh,
it's just an example of like you don't need to be tech savvy to be a murderer.
True.
That sounded
Yeah.
And
like
most
a
people
silly
that
note.
are, yeah, I think most convicted murderers are not indeed tech savvy, or else you probably wouldn't have gotten caught. So there's
And
that.
But then
also the
also,
one,
if we think, oh, sorry, go ahead, Petra.
just also the previous one that Laura had, the assassin in Finland.
Mm.
That was also
Mm.
with all the messages, and I don't know,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
don't think about digital things enough. I mean,
Yeah.
good
Digital
because they
footprint.
get caught, but
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
I mean, in that case, in the last one with the kind of contract killing story, yeah, it's weird that the guy didn't think about it at all.
Yeah, he thought of the fucking Tor network, but not. like,
Yeah, exactly. But then I guess in a lot of other cases, because I think there are statistics about it that most murders are not premeditated, so it's not like you,
Mm.
I don't know, prepare that much to hide all the evidence. So maybe it makes more sense that they don't really think about, or they at least don't know how to cover up these digital footprints. But yeah.
Mm. Oh yeah. So like as I said, the search was going on because probably due to the last place that her phone was turned on, right? And so that was the main search, like I said, took place on the 15th of May. And then on the 16th of May, Tuesday afternoon, the police confirmed that they have found Tova's body. And the charges on which the three men were being held were being, like, they're charged with vapauden ristorikos, or kidnapping, and it was changed from kidnapping to murder, so murha. And there was some actual Finnish articles, so that was kind of a saving grace with this. So I didn't have to read a bunch of Swedish stuff, but yeah.
yeah, I was a
So
bit confused why this term
yeah,
came out in Finnish, but now I see
yeah.
that your source was
I was
Finnish.
I was more comfortable with reading the Finnish than the Swedish, so I just so went from
So wait a minute,
kidnapping.
how many days was this after she was?
So she went missing from Sunday to Monday, and then this was
Huh?
Tuesday that the police were like, okay, then now these charges that we have these three guys in custody, and these three guys of custody, they were being held on the vapauden ristorikos, or the kidnapping charge. But now it's suddenly changed to murha because they found her body finally. They're like, okay, it's not a disappearance, it's actually murder now. So, and this was on the Tuesday. So basically Saturday to Sunday, Sunday to Monday, Monday to Tuesday, basically 3 days, less than 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah, not too long.
Yeah. So based on the accounts from family and friends, Tova had been abused and assaulted, like quite seriously, by one of the men in the past, and that's where I will delve into next. So that was kind of the
One
background
of the same
information.
men. So one of
Yes.
those three men. Okay.
Yes. Yes. So now we'll go into some more information. So I got most of this information about Billy, so now you know the suspect's name, Billy, and Tova's relationship from a YouTube channel by Paulina Beauty. So is this kind of person who does makeup and talks about true crime at the same time. So, I mean, she was very
That's
knowledgeable.
interesting
She's
concept.
Swedish. Yeah, there's a few of the channels like was it Bailey Sarian, I think, is a main one that does this type of stuff too. But this Paulina, she's Swedish speaker, so she actually was reading the articles in Swedish, so it was quite helpful. And yeah, and I was also reading some of the same sources that she was. So, but yeah, just wanted to give a big thanks to her because I got most of this background information, like relationship stuff, because it wasn't in most of the articles or pretty much a lot of the articles. There were just kind of glimmers here and there of background information. So yeah, but this is an important piece of the puzzle, and Billy and Tova's relationship. So the relationship of Billy Fagerström and Tova Moberg, I guess she would have been around the age of 16, and he would have been about 20 at this time. So they started dating like she was 16, he was 20.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning, their relationship started out pretty well, no issues. But as time went on, of course, as most abusers do, their dark and malicious side comes out. So when Billy and Tova started dating, Billy had his driver's license, but for some reason it got taken away. And this was like the start of his downward spiral. So he became depressed. He started smoking a lot of weed and staying at home and kind of like self isolating. And he lived at this home that was owned by his father, but then he had like a roommate who was his friend. So he had kind of like free range on this kind of house farmy area next to a lake with his friend. And yeah, so he's, 20 something years old, or 20 at this point, I guess. And yeah, or approximately. So he's living pretty free at this point. After he lost his license, from then on, he kind of started controlling Tova more, probably because he lost most of his freedom when he lost his license, especially being in a very rural area. Like
Mm-hmm.
his house is quite remote. And so I think that's another reason why, like, if you feel isolated and your license gets taken away and you can't drive anywhere, you don't have the freedom, you feel a bit, like pent up maybe, but it's still no reason to, abuse your significant other. But yeah.
Yeah.
So some examples of his assholery where he would forbid her from taking, like, there's in Sweden, I think probably in Finland too, there's these mandatory extracurricular activities that you can take during school, like during high school or whatever, where you either take like languages or something like gymnastics or swimming or whatever you have, right? And she decided that, oh, I'm going to take gymnastics because it sounds interesting. And apparently he lost it. He didn't want her to take gymnastics, and he like pinched her so hard that it resulted in this like massive ass bruise on her leg. And it wasn't just like, like a small pinch and you have like a, I don't know, like a couple centimeter size bruise, but it was like fucking massive, like the size of a hand. It was really, really, really big.
Wow. It's not even pinching anymore.
Yeah, that's more like just grabbing someone's flesh and just holding on for dear
Yeah.
life. But yeah. Yeah, so that was one of the instances. And
What
I think
what was his issue with gymnastics?
I don't know, but I'm assuming that it may be something that like, oh, you're gonna be in, I'm just assuming, like putting myself in this asshole's shoes. I just think like, okay, a gymnast, you're in kind of like a leotard in front of other people, you're having fun with your friends. It's just like kind of this guy not wanting to be left out, and then also around other people, maybe in like clothing that he doesn't like her to wear or something. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Complete conjecture on my part,
I
but
guess it's more about just the fact that they have the urge to control rather than there being any actual issue. Like,
yeah.
he could have probably, if she was like, I want to take the music classes, no music. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she had already
something
wanted to
triggering.
take I think she wanted to take like a language class. and then she had signed up for that. And then he was fine with that for some reason, but then when she switched to gymnastics, I think that's when he lost it, I guess.
Mhm.
It
So I
might
think
be
there is
some sexual
something.
implications in his head
Yeah,
for
yeah, I
the
think that's
situation.
maybe what it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
He also forbid her from hanging out with anybody of the opposite gender due to jealousy. And this might have been a two-sided thing, like both of them might have been jealous of the other one, like hanging out with the opposite sex or gender, sex, Jesus Christ, whatever. But judging off of his personality, it could have easily been one-sided, and then she just kind of like, I don't know, went along with it, and then was like, okay, well, if you're forbidding me, then I'm gonna forbid you. Like, might as well just
Exactly.
been
I
something like
mean,
that.
and
Yeah,
especially thinking their ages, it sounds
yeah,
like if the other is saying like you can do that, then the other is like, okay, then you can't either.
yeah,
Like I can
yeah,
imagine this fight going on.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I was thinking the same that I feel like there's especially in this age, like they're kind of teenagers. The guy's a little bit older,
Mm,
but being insecure and saying stuff like that is, I think that happens more often, but there's definitely a pathological level.
yeah, definitely. And from some other like messages and stuff that he like horrible messages that he wrote her, she had a bit of like a feminist view on life, and she, thought in like power, empowerment of women, and also being from Sweden, there's lots of that going around too. Like it's not an oppressive society for women. It's very like free, and people want women to succeed. And so she was kind of one of these people who was also a feminist, or it seemed like she was, from some of the messages he wrote her, like calling her out and basically saying like, oh, your women views on the world don't work and all this stuff, and like more horrible things than that. But just,
Mhm.
I think she actually had a mind of her own, and he thought that that was an issue. So yeah, yeah. But this is all conjecture, because I mean, just reading some of the messages that he would send her, they were fucking horrible. And then this abuse, and yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, sounds like a great
um,
guy.
yeah, fucking Billy. Sucks because my dad's name is Bill, so it's just yeah, okay, bad. Okay, so this hot and cold relationship was on and off again until March 2017. Yeah, so basically up until the time that she went missing, or okay, spoiler, until they went missing, until she went missing. So, um, and but
So basically,
officially, like,
they were dating at the time she went missing.
yeah, we'll get to that. So
Okay,
this
okay.
was, yeah, it goes a bit more interesting than that. So, like, for all intents and purposes, like her family and her friends thought that, their relationship was over after this one incident that I'll now describe. So
Mm-hmm.
in March 2017, Tova was supposed to go swimming. So Billy was in her car, and she was going to stop by at home, grab her stuff for swimming, and then drop Billy off at his place before going to swim, going to like the swim hall. And when she got home, her mom called out to greet her, but Tova went straight to the bathroom, and in an attempt to ignore her mother, Annika. And her mother was like, okay, that's fucking weird, because my kid isn't an asshole, doesn't just ignore me. Like when I say like, hey, honey, how's your day? How are you? So her mom was like, something's definitely off. And
Mhm.
so she was asking through the bathroom door. It's like, hey, what's up? What's going on? And then when Tova finally came out of the bathroom, Annika noticed that Tova was beaten and bruised on her body. So Billy, of course, had beaten her up, and Annika, being the protective mother that she was, forbade her from going out to the car because Billy was still waiting out there, for her to grab her stuff and for her to take him home. So this is a bit of an awkward situation, right? Like, kind
Mhm.
of, what do you do? So, Annika tried to convince Tova not to see Billy anymore, but Tova rationalized that, hey, if I don't act normal, and like if I show that you know that I've been beaten and bruised, then it would turn out worse for Tova. Like it would turn out worse for her situation. So
Why?
reluctantly, well,
What
because
is
like
the rationale there?
well, it's kind of like I kind of understand it too, because if you can just be like, okay, just placate the guy, placate, don't cause any waves, just get him home, get some distance between them, you know. There's other things that you could have done in this situation, but I'm not victim blaming Tova or Annika in any of these regards. But like, you're not really thinking rationally too at this point
Yeah,
because
and again, she is basically a teenager.
yeah, yes,
Yeah, and also the abuse, or like, I think generally too, it goes like that, that it builds up over time. So
mm,
it almost feels normal by
yeah,
the time it becomes really serious. So
yeah,
it's like if this Billy
Yeah.
guy had been a completely like nice guy, and then suddenly he beats her up, then yeah, then probably she would immediately leave him. But then yeah, it sounds like there were other stuff building up in the meantime. So it's kind of easier to think that okay, it's not that bad. Like if we act normal, then it will
yeah,
be better. And yeah,
yeah. So basically, yeah, she was like, okay, just until I can get Billy home, like act like everything is normal. And yeah, so just leave it be, mom. I'll bring him back home and it'll be fine. We'll just ignore it for now. Just let me do this. So Annika reluctantly let Tova drive Billy back home. And then Annika took pictures of Tova's bruises and tried to file a report, but Tova didn't really want to comply to get Billy in trouble, so the police couldn't do anything. They couldn't file any charges because Tova didn't want to, press them. So that's unfortunate, but
mm,
that's
Oh,
also very
that's
common.
interesting.
But it's also very common in these instances too. So in these domestic
I mean,
abuse,
that
yeah, yeah,
that it's what's the word in English? That it has to be filed by the victim.
mm, yeah,
In Finnish, that's asianomistajarikos.
yeah.
Uh,
Uh, I understand the words, but I don't know the translation to English because
case
I've never.
owner crime.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, yeah,
plaintiff. That's
yeah,
asianomistaja.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, like something that you. I have a feeling that some of these in Finland, this is Sweden, so it doesn't
Mm.
apply. But in Finland, it's like anyone can do it. It doesn't need to be the
Mm.
victim because of this. Because just the situation we are hearing about here, complainant offense.
Yeah,
Mm.
just found it too.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly like this in the States, though, too. Like, the victim has to file the charges. Because, for instance, if your husband, or if, like, I had a partner who beat me, and then if I didn't want to press charges, like, if the police come, they arrest him for assault and battery or domestic abuse or whatever, then
Yeah.
I would have to be like, okay, I don't want to press charges, or yes, I do want to press charges. I need to, take the initiative, which I think is wrong in a lot of cases. And it might be different from state to state or whatever,
Yeah.
but generally, I always feel like it's kind of bad that they put the pressure on the victim who is already in
Victim.
a
Yeah.
fragile, yeah, like the
Yeah.
victim who is already in a fragile headspace. And we know that, like, hell, all these victim cases, where domestic abuse cases, it's very difficult for the victim to leave their abuser, and
Yeah.
it usually doesn't happen initially or easily or within the first 7 times or something. So it's kind of
Yeah.
unfortunate in these
Yeah,
instances.
think this is probably still kind of an old idea behind this process, but then knowing the nature of domestic violence, it definitely shouldn't be like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it should be updated for sure. So
Actually, I
yeah.
found
Yeah.
that in it. I don't know how similar the law is in Sweden, but in Finland, if it's just like mild
Mm.
mild battery, I don't know how it's lievä.
What is mild?
paho-
Yeah. Okay.
lievä pahoinpitely, then
Yeah.
it's that you have to file it yourself. But if
Mm,
it's a severe one, then it's
mm,
anyone can do it. Like, I mean, that the
yeah.
prosecutor can prosecute without your permission.
Yeah. I guess in this case, if she had bruises and whatnot, they would probably still consider that mild. I'm
Yeah,
assuming. So yeah, if she had a broken bone or something, then I would assume that they would have major
yeah,
injuries
exactly.
then. So yeah. So yeah. So no charges get filed against him, unfortunately, because that would have probably ended things as it stood. But yeah, so Billy realizes that Annika tried to pass these charges, so Tova's mom, and he decides that he and Tova can't be together, so he's the one who decides this, and so this is the last time that they officially break up, quote unquote. But knowing young people and, toxic relationships, this doesn't last long. And instead of officially dating, they kind of enter a friends with benefits type of situation. They keep this relationship secret from Annika, and they basically just start sneaking around and seeing each other. So, yeah. So that's what I meant earlier by like technically they're not together, but technically they are still seeing each other
Hmm.
unofficially. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So then on May 13th, so progressing, so from March to
Wait,
that
sorry.
last,
Just
yeah,
sorry. Just about the timeline. So when was this beating
I
up
was I
incident?
was literally just about to say that, yeah. So
Ah,
yeah. So on March 17th was was it 17th? In March, it just says March 2017. So March to May, now we're
mhm.
2 months later,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So on May 13th, Billy was hanging out with his friends and Tova was going to go to a friend's party. So Tova asked to be dropped off at her friend's place, but in fact, there would be no party. She had every intention with hanging out with her ex, Billy. So Annika drops Tova off at 9:45 at her friend's place, at Tova's friend's place. And Billy, so that's another point. Just remember 9:45 p.m. So that's how Annika is like, okay, the last time I saw my daughter was at 9:45 p.m. on the Saturday, May 13th. So and Billy at the same time is hanging out with a big group of friends, but then he kicks everybody out except for one friend who he says he wants to discuss something in private with. So since everybody was going to be going on like a car cruise or something later,
What? What is a
yeah,
car cruise?
I'm not even sure. I think they were just gonna like hang out and cruise in the cars, like going
I
on
think
like a
people
Okay,
do that.
like
I
cruise.
always
yeah,
found this kind of weird, but then
Yes.
this just kind of
In the,
sitting in the car and cruising around.
yeah.
I
Like we
think in
used to kind of
countryside.
yeah. We used to do this too, but it was more like we would go go to a fast food place, get a fuck ton of tacos at Jack in the Box or something, and then go chill in a parking lot for hours, and then go somewhere else, and then like kind of
I mean,
go
sure, like
around.
that part I get, but just
Yeah,
like cruising for hours, I don't know. Yeah.
I like it. I mean, I like driving especially, but yeah. So yeah, it sounds like fun to me, but yeah, they're gonna go cruising in their cars. So Um, so everyone didn't really think that was weird because they were gonna go driving anyway. So one friend staying behind with Billy doesn't sound too terribly odd. And Billy and this other friend are supposed to meet up with the group later on. So just yeah. So everything sounds normal up until this point, right? Yeah. So Billy's secret thing that he wanted to discuss with the friend was that he just wanted to go pick up Tova at Tova's friend's place because, the whole dupe, when you're young, yeah, mom, I'm gonna go hang out with this friend, and then you're going somewhere completely different, right? So,
But
uh,
so this
yeah,
kind of sneaking around was not only, so they were not just hiding it from Tova's mom, but from everyone else too.
yes, pretty much. Like maybe Thova's friends knew a little bit, or they knew just a very little bit that she was still seeing him or still having sex with him at least. And then none of the other friends at the car cruise knew that Billy was going to see Thova, but only this one friend, knew. So at this point, at least. I mean, how secret could they have really been, though? He doesn't have a license. I don't know if she had a car,
Yeah.
like, all the time, so it's not like she can just drop by. Yeah, so they kind of had to rely on other people to also bring them together sometimes. So, um, yeah. So then the three of them, so the Billy, Thova, and Billy's friend, they come back to Billy's place, and then they're there for about 20 minutes before Billy also says that the friend has to leave and wait outside for a ride from the group of friends. So, kind of a dick move. Like, yeah, hang back from the friends. I need to discuss something like super serious. Okay, we'll go pick up Tova, bring her back, 20 minutes, get the fuck out. Like, just, okay.
But
Hate this
so,
guy already.
but also, whose car were they using? So, wasn't
Yeah.
Billy going to pick up Tova with the friend's car?
Yeah,
He,
so I
he
think
couldn't drive.
I think the thing was that maybe they were using Billy's car because he has his license
Ah,
taken
so
away,
he
but
needed
not his
drivers.
car. Yeah, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
I assumed from
Mhm.
that from
Mhm.
this thing, yeah. So yeah, so then he also makes the stipulation to the friend like, "Hey, don't tell anybody that Thova's here." Like completely silent, do not tell anybody that Thova's here. Just wait outside in front for the friends to pick you up, okay? Cool. All right, bye. Slams door in face, right? And then the friend only thought it was weird because Billy locked the door behind him, which was a bit odd. Like, slam door, lock door, which I guess maybe he didn't have a locked door policy at his place. So he was like, okay, well, I'll just wait here on the stoop, whatever. So continuing on, according to Billy, because that's all we have at this point, his story, they hung out, Tova and him, and had sex. They drank alcohol. And then Thova's friends came to pick her up. And that's when she left. Cool. But then Billy had a friend show up. And this friend called Ludde, who apparently sold drugs with Billy. So this was all a bit confusing too, because Ludde is maybe not a real person, or maybe a person, but he wasn't there that night at Billy's place, if that makes sense. So continuing, like, so according to Billy and Billy's other friends, Ludde, according to them, refers to a nerdy type guy they don't like who happened to be in Stockholm that same night. So I think Ludde could be a complete lie, and he kind of just like, how do I say it? Like Billy like took Ludde's name and like, oh yeah, I work with him, whatever, I sell drugs and stuff, and just kind of like used his name as the person like in the situation, but he wasn't actually there that night. So just using him as kind of an alibi. So then
Which is
after
kind of
Ludde,
stupid because I don't
yeah,
know, not too hard to
yeah,
check, I guess. Yeah.
exactly. And I mean they even checked like, yeah, he was in Stockholm that night. So how could he be like 2.5 hours away from where they're at? And then yeah, so then, yeah, Billy then claims that he passed out after taking some pills and then he was asleep until morning. So, yes, very likely story, right? Yes, like totally sounds legit. You know, Tova left after they had sex, drank alcohol, took some pills, passed out. And he says that Tova left before midnight. But there's already like a false statement because she had apparently called a friend around 1:15 a.m. and it was at his house that she had called from, like on her phone, but at his house. And she said that, oh yeah, I'm hanging out with Billy and, you know, everything was fine. And she was even like kind of in high spirits and like, you know, there was no alarms basically. The friend asked her like, oh, is everything okay there? And she's like, yeah, everything is great. So, because she knew that, you know, Billy and her had a very contentious relationship, so she was prepared to, like, are you okay with Billy alone? And so everything was fine up until 1:15. So it's kind of bullshit that Billy, passed out and whatever. So then at 11:20, Billy messaged his roommate. So there's some receipts for this on his phone, obviously, because we're dealing with someone who's not tech savvy. Yeah, we kind of already know that this is a bit of a, I don't know, the timeline doesn't really make sense at this point, because then at 11:20, Billy messages his roommate. He's like, "Tell me if you're coming here, and before you're going here."
When it 11:20?
At
Is that
11:20
evening or morning?
evening.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, so
Okay, wait, can I ask something? about
yeah,
the
go
time?
for it.
What was the time when Billy said that Tova left? Which we know it wasn't true. So he said she left at around what time?
At, I think 12:30 to 1:30 at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think 12:30 to 1:30 basically. And she messaged at 1:15, still at his house.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this message to Billy's roommate could also be like, "Hey, don't come here because we're naked," or whatever. Sure. But then he was like, "Don't come here right now. I'm here with Lunde." So he was basically trying to say, like, yeah, I'm doing some drug deals or whatever, something.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 2:20, so this is well past both the time at 1:15 that Tova had said that she was fine, and also at 11:20 when Billy had messaged the roommate at the beginning. So at 2:20 he sends another message and says, "Don't come yet. Absolutely not yet." So yeah, we can
Suspicious.
we can guess what those messages were about. I mean, I think the earlier ones could have indeed been like, we're having sex here, don't come in the house, we're like half naked
Mm-hmm.
or naked or whatever, sure. But the later ones definitely suspicious in my mind. So but yeah,
In a
so
way, like at this
yeah.
point, it starts like to sound like no one was intended to get murdered. That something accidentally happened. He lost his temper, or they took too much drugs or something, and he's like, shit. This was just a middle comment, how I have perceived this far.
Yeah,
Or at
could
least
be.
he didn't invite her there to murder her.
Yeah,
Obviously.
exactly. That was not the intention, really.
Maybe not, but who knows?
Or was
Yeah,
it?
okay.
Okay, let's hear.
Yeah. Okay, so so the friends, so the car cruising friends, really, they're like, "Hey, we want to come back to the house to sleep." So he calls like one of the friends from that car cruising group. They call Billy, and Billy's like a little out of breath and panting when he picks up the phone. And Billy says like he'll call him back in 10 minutes. But before the 10 minutes is up, the friend texts Billy back and is like, "Hey, forget about it. We found a place to sleep. Just like whatever, continue doing what you're doing." Yeah. So
Might interpret the breathing in a different manner. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So, and at the same time, so Tova's phone is turned off around this time. Around the same
And this
time.
is at what time?
Well, I think approximately between 1:30 and 2:20.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and remember, like, he had sent that message to his friend, like, "Don't come here, absolutely not yet," at 2:20.
Mm-hmm.
So approximately 1:30 to 2:20. Yeah. Or at least the police theory is that he kills Tova at 1:30 to 2:20 with a hammer and hits her in the head more than 20 times and strangles her. But the blunt force trauma is what kills her, and she's left to bleed out. So that's kind of how she ends up dying.
Okay, that's quite wild.
Quite brutal, yeah. But
Yeah,
given
like
his
a
history of
overkill.
violence, kind of his history of violence, I feel like it's not overkill for this situation because I don't know,
He's a
shown that
violent man.
he's a violent guy. Yeah, indeed. So, um, he then drags her body 20 meters and puts her in a wheelbarrow. And it's estimated that, okay, maybe he did this because it's easier to transport the body from the house to the lake. And he tapes her into the wheelbarrow, like lays her body in there and like tapes her. And then he also spends time like tying wires around the wheelbarrow to keep her securely in the wheelbarrow itself. So she's not going to fall out, or possibly like when she goes to the actual lake that she's not going to rise out of the wheelbarrow. This is like using as like a weight.
Okay.
And then he also puts further weights in the wheelbarrow, and wheels everything into the lake and pushes her there, and then throws Tova's cell phone and the murder weapon also into the lake at the same time. So yeah, so also because going back, when the friend calls and he's like out of breath, this is also approximately, I think, linked to the calls because he's, carrying a dead body. I mean, she was quite a slight girl. I mean, she was athletically built and she was kind of small seeming from not like super small, but just like a normally weight of a girl and stuff. So it's kind of, but even that dead weight you're going to be carrying is going to be a lot. So I think he was overexerting
Dead
himself.
bodies are heavy, as I heard.
Yes. And awkward to carry, especially if you don't want to leave drag marks from their feet or whatever. So yeah. So he kind of showed his adeptness from the murder because he rakes over the tracks of the wheelbarrow to cover the traces that anything was being
He does what?
taken. He rakes, like uses a rake or covers up the tracks, like, the wheelbarrow wheel track. He kind of disrupts the soil so then it doesn't look like anything went down to the lake at that point or like recently. And then he does something else. He burns all of his clothes that he was wearing because they were probably covered in blood. Like, because I mean, 20 hits to her head with a hammer, quite a lot of spray back, I would assume. And
so I assume there is some kind of fireplace where he can
barrel.
burn them.
Yeah. So they found a barrel with buttons from his jacket, and he was wearing apparently he was wearing that same night. So yeah.
And this was like
he wasn't that smart.
You say this was like a farmhouse, so it's a detached house and nothing's really close to it, right?
Yeah, nothing's really close. There's just some woods around a little bit, some fields, and then there's a lake right next to it. So I think I put it in our Google Drive if you want to see, and we'll post photos on the Instagram as well. So
eventually,
yeah, yeah. So, So Billy then wakes up earlier than normal because, well, usually he sleeps until the crack of noon. But here he woke up earlier in the morning and he bikes 8 kilometers to his father's place. There, he takes a bath and then he makes a Snapchat story. And apparently the Snapchat story said like the equivalent of fucking life, as if I didn't have enough problems. This takes the prize. Yeah. So
basically. And
poor guy.
See?
Yeah, poor him for murdering somebody. Such strain that put on your body, huh? Yeah.
Like first you try to hide what you just did, and then you go to social media to tell what you've done, basically.
Yes.
That's
hinting.
Our generation.
Like these Facebook messages like, oh, my life is so bad right now. And then people are asking, oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? It's like these attention-seeking posts, kind of. So
and then you reply, well, I just murdered my girlfriend. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Please
just
feel
did something
pity.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a dumbass. But but that goes without saying. So that same morning, Annika notices Tova isn't home. And like I said, there was one source that said that she missed a swim meet in the morning. Maybe Annika also thought like, okay, she should be home because of the swim meet or something. I'm not sure, but because Annika and Tova had set up a time where Tova was supposed to, be picked up from the party that she was going to at her friend's place. And she would call her mom, and her mom would come and get her. But Annika had fallen asleep with her phone beside her, and she never received a call from Tova. And like when Annika went to go and call Tova, the phone goes straight to voicemail. So she's like, "Fuck, that's weird. My daughter should be home right now." So she calls the friend that she dropped her off at, and the friend has to break it to her that Tova had lied and said that she was actually going to go and see Billy last night. So, yeah. Did you have a question, Petra?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah. So then Annika's like, well, going straight to the source. So she goes to Billy's house, but of course Billy isn't at his own house. He's at his father's place. So, Tova's parents, so mother and father, are both worried, and they break into Billy's house, like, because they're so worried. And they're like, nothing seems to be amiss here. So they go to Billy's father's place, where they see Billy. And of course, Billy doesn't fess up, and he lies. And it's like, yeah, she left last night, the whole fucking same story. And then Thova's parents are, basically forced to report her missing to the police. And that's how we end up with the, Sunday report of her missing and then the subsequent police investigation after that. So
basically, I guess at the point when they report her missing, they also mention to the police that we suspect that this Billy guy has something to do with it.
yeah, I would assume so. And also if the police have had some reports like, of Billy and Tova, and I would put two and two together. If it's such a small town, you kind of know like this bastard who's a woman abuser, and then okay, his girlfriend or some female acquaintance goes missing, then he's lying about it. So
Well, I mean, he
Yeah,
was arrested 2 days later, so they did put 2 and 2 together.
yeah, quickly I would yeah, true.
Also, I think him losing the driver's license, if it wasn't some kind of, I don't know, illness, I'm guessing it's driving drunk.
Mm.
Like, there's not so many reasons why you would lose
Yeah.
suddenly your driving license.
Yeah, I was thinking either driving drunk or multiple speeding tickets, but lots of speeding tickets you would have how many? Like you have 3 strikes or 4 strikes that you need to like get the license taken away.
Probably something like that, even in Sweden. So I would say
Yeah.
that police of the small town knows him already.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So ahead of time, the friends that Billy was hanging out with were told by Billy to lie, and they all, together fabricated the same story. So when police came to question Billy, they say they all came to pick Billy up the night before, and they all went to cruise in the cars, right? And the police didn't think that this was very genuine, though. Well, probably because all of them had the exact same fucking story, which we know that's usually a lie, like a dead tip off for police or investigators. Like, suspiciously the same exact story of the same exact words, but okay.
Because the fact is that even if same exact things happens, usually people tell about them in very different ways.
Yes. Exactly.
But then wait, so was their story that she was not even there, or that she was there but then left and then they went cruising?
As far as I understood it, that they didn't see Tova there, so he told them to lie and basically like, yeah, Tova was never here. That's the
But then
story.
he already told her parents that she was there but then left.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, okay, so I mean, at one point he also told the police like she came and she left at what was it, 11:30 or something like that, or so that could also be part of the story too. So,
It's
yeah,
just not
that
working
seems.
out in any
Yeah,
sense.
I think I would think that he probably was like, okay, yeah, she left at this time, and then we went to go cruise cars. But
Yeah.
yeah, that seems more of a likely story because otherwise, then that would just arrest the guy for lying right on the spot right there. But yeah, so um, yeah, so the police were like, okay, there's something rotten in the state of Denmark, or rotten in the country of Sweden, and Billy then later called the non-emergency line. So not 112, but the other one. I don't know, like the other line. And
I
just to
know
give the
in
police,
Sweden,
yeah, I don't
like a
know, like
tip line
yeah,
or
kind of like a
something.
tip line or like, hey, by the way, there's this like I don't know, people being loud in my next door neighbor or something like that is being super loud, like a noise complaint or something very, very minor, like that you could call in. It's not going to be like oh my God, someone's shooting down my door, come police, it's an emergency, but like, nothing super serious. Fine.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like we have 911 and then I forget the other one. I should know these, but I don't. I just know 911 and 112. But yeah, anyway. So he calls this non-emergency line to give them information about the night before and to quote unquote help the investigation. And yeah, this is where he says like she left about 12:30 to 1:30 and she was picked up by her friends and blah 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 blah, and then they went to cruise cars and etc etc. And then he feigned worry for Tova and was like, she may not even be alive.
Why
Why
would he
say
say that?
that?
Yeah.
Yes, right? Like,
Well, we
is he
know
trying to be
why.
like, yeah, 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 but I'm just like, is he trying to be like, oh, the most obvious fucking thing you say, and then kind of trying to hide in plain sight, like, oh, it wasn't me, but she might not be alive. Like, why would a murderer say that? Indeed, like, who would be stupid enough to say that to the police? But apparently he is. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm just this fucking guy. This fucking guy. So going back to the investigation, the police were able to find footsteps or tracks in the water. So I assume that the water was maybe like this silty kind of bottom, like lake bottom. So it wasn't rocky. Otherwise, there would be no foot tracks. So you can kind of see like foot impressions on like either sandy or the silty kind of ground. It actually holds a footstep. So they were able to find footsteps and tracks in the water. And they followed these foot tracks and they're like, huh, well, there's a wheelbarrow and there's Tova. So, which she was still tied to the wheelbarrow. So he thought of the tracks on land, but he didn't think of the ones in the water.
Hmm.
Yeah. And they also found her phone and the murder weapon as well. So he was kind of stupid about that because I was also thinking, let's just, speculate here that he had the burn barrel, right? That he burned his clothes in.
Yeah.
He could have easily burned the phone. He could have easily burned at least the handle of the hammer and then just taken the metal part, and the metal part would have maybe been sterilized with the flame, right? And then it would have gotten rid of all the evidence, but he didn't think about that, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah,
good.
or
I think
her
he
phone,
thought
like
too
just
much.
take it somewhere else.
Mm.
So that would show that she left the place.
But still really close to his house, like within 100 meters of his house. I don't know.
Well,
Seems a
I'm
bit
just
off.
saying what he should have done, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
Or, well, I mean, I don't
yeah,
know, just to cover it up better.
yeah, yeah.
No, he was
And
too
this
busy to
lake,
go home and do Snapchat posts about
yeah,
this.
true, true.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that I think he should have covered it up better, just,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm always thinking of these things too. Like, not that I'm saying I'm ever planning a murder, but I just stupidity of
But
man. That's what
but
I.
if you do, then no one will ever find out.
Yes.
Except us. We know how our brain
You
works
know how my
now.
mind works, I guess. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh no. Ugh. Mm, yeah.
And this
So
lake is the one
mm,
right next to his house, right?
yes, yes, yes,
Hmm.
indeed,
So
indeed.
smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
After this we can look at the photos. But yeah. So yeah, they found her phone and everything, and then so basically, without reasonable doubt, they were like, okay, Billy's the prime suspect. Obviously, it's kind of on his property and like near his property, and yeah, she's found dead, beaten, horribly beaten. Who, next to a person who has a history of beating her. So it's just put two and two together. And a quote from the judgment of the district court was as follows, which I found also to be kind of like sad. The handling of the body shows a coldness of emotion beyond what is usually seen in murder. This action has been both premeditated and particularly reckless. So yeah, so they think that it was indeed premeditated, or at least, yeah.
What supports that?
Well, a lot of the messages between him and her, and I'll get a little bit more into that too. But
okay, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. So these assumptions are in line with the sheer amount of horrible things that Billy had written to Tova in text message and the amount of abuse that she had suffered from him. So she even wrote in her diaries about the abuse and recorded the photos of her injuries on a flash drive. And there's a quote also like from one of the articles that was about 6 months before she was found murdered. She writes about her fear of her boyfriend and says that if I break up, he will kill me. I don't dare take chances. So she was already like prepared to die and like was taking these steps of documenting everything and like put everything on a flash drive separately so she could hide it from him in case he ever in case he ever like found it or found her computer or whatever. And like he had threatened her with death multiple times, cut her off from most of her friends and made her like break up with her friends, like her closest girlfriends, and like classic isolation tactics from this guy. And there's like other instances too, like the friend. So for instance, like on some of the messages or on Snapchat or something like that, if you take a message or if you take a screenshot, you'll see the message, like that someone screenshotted this. So
Yeah, I
and
think
then
on
she
Snapchat
also
it works like that.
yeah, and then also like on WhatsApp, I think like it looked familiar. It looked like that they were using WhatsApp maybe for most of their correspondence. But so her friend would take photos from her phone of Tova's screen, like of these messages between her and Billy, and they're really bad. Like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna fucking like cut your head out. Like really, really bad things. Like really things you just don't say to your significant other
or to anyone.
And then or to anybody. Yeah, unless they're I don't know. Okay, I can't even think of a situation, but yeah. And like another time, like they were driving and then he pushed her into a ditch and like beat her up, and it was like there's just been like lots of instances where he would actually beat her up, and he also learned to do it so that it wouldn't leave marks so Annika could see, and the just really horrible things. So she was kind of prepared for the worst with this Billy, but she just couldn't stay away from him and he couldn't stay away from her. So it was just this kind of very toxic relationship in general. So yeah. Yeah, I think even the YouTube video that I watched was kind of like she knew she was going to die because yeah, she wrote about it constantly in her diary, and like she kind of knew that it was playing with fire when she was with Billy. And
I
yeah,
mean, I
just
don't know. That sounds a bit like kind of romanticizing the story. I don't know if she knew she was gonna die, but I'm sure she was scared that this
yeah,
would happen, or just kind of telling herself, "Oh, it's not that bad," when times were a little bit better, and then
yeah,
just kind of convinced herself to, or like
mm,
I'm sure she was scared of leaving him too. Yeah, just I don't know.
yeah.
It's kind of the classic domestic violence case. Like the psychology of domestic violence is so difficult to understand. I
Yeah.
have never experienced it, so like you hear the same pattern every time, like the victim not being able to leave it, and then I just wonder, like, what is it? But it's a pattern. Like it happens to so many people who are in the same situation.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think it's so easy to fall into this, like, well, like 75% of the time they're a good guy, they're lovey-dovey, and they love bomb you right after they do something horrible to you,
Yeah.
and then they kind of get you back feeling comfortable and safe again, and then they do it again. They're like, I would never do that again. I would never hurt you. And then you believe it, and then it just goes into that cycle completely, and then you're too ashamed to tell your friends and your family because, well, they already don't like this guy. I can't go to anybody to talk to
And they're
because
like, just leave him.
just
Like
leave him. But
they are
yeah,
on not on the same level with you.
but like one good not quote, but point that I think it was in Sinisterhood they brought up that, well, okay, lots of people stay in perfectly good relationships and they
Yes.
don't leave for years. So, okay, compound that with someone who's abusing you and these manipulation tactics and has cut you off from the rest of your family and friends, and you don't have anybody to go to. So it just makes it 10 times worse. So you ask yourself, why would someone stay? Those are the fucking reasons why someone would stay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, especially if it's, like a marriage and with children and
Yeah, with
everything. I don't know
children. Yeah.
I don't know in this case, like it sounds like she kind of had a support system, like her mom and everything, but
Mhm.
still, I feel like there's often this element of feeling sorry for the perpetrator. So the victim feels like, oh, but he has
Yeah.
such a difficult life. Like
Yeah.
I kind of, maybe I can help him, or maybe, like this is a difficult time. This is not the right time to leave him because he's, I
Yeah.
don't know, he has other issues. So if I just stay a few more months and then I find the right time to leave him when he's kind
Yeah.
of super happy, and like that will be easier. And these kind of rationalizations are
Yeah, or
often
it didn't
behind it
always
too.
used to yeah, or it didn't always used to be like this. He was always so loving for like a year or whatever at the beginning of our relationship, and now things are bad, and it's circumstances that are making it bad right now, but
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, we can go on and on about this, but it's just definitely not victim blaming Tova or her family or anybody like that. It's just but I hate those people who say, well, if you're in an abusive relationship, you can just leave. That's complete bullshit. So, and we all know that's complete bullshit. And if you're probably listening to this podcast, you also know it's complete bullshit. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So of course, this Billy had denied that he was, so callously involved in the murder of Tova. But with all the evidence, it had to be him, like with the phone, with the wheelbarrow, it's next to his place. The accounts of his friends and stuff, like the other friends were let go because they were viewed as not being in on the crime, but one thing was that so early on in the morning when he went to his father's place, he was going to with his other two friends, they were going to go to some boat repair shop because he had a boat that needed repairing, so it was maybe some like bottom work, like to make it waterproof or something. And so the theory was that they were going to use the boat, or Billy was going to use the boat and take Tova's body deeper into the lake or somewhere else further away from his property so it couldn't be found.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that was just another aside. But yeah, so all of this like leads to Billy, of course. Like he has the history, he has the motive, he has the means, he has everything. So,
But I just
yeah.
I kind of feel really irritated by the friends of him.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I mean, they're not the perpetrator. They're probably not criminals or anything. But like,
Yeah.
did they really think, like, what did he say to them? Like, hey, police is after me. Please lie for me. I
Yeah,
mean,
I was thinking the same. Like, what the fuck?
was
Yeah.
he
Like, I
worth
mean,
it?
you can
I
lie
hope
in
they
a
got
minor case, but
something.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Like, I kind of want to know who these other guys were, but of course, since they were not, convicted or anything, we don't know anything about them. Just that they were two guys, also around their 20s. Yeah. So,
Probably they
yeah.
didn't
So,
think it too much. They were just like, yeah, gotta help a friend.
I mean, they're probably hungover as well. I'm
Yeah,
just assuming.
like okay, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. So eventually, Billy is sentenced to life in prison on the basis of murder, assault, illegal coercion, and illegal threats. A life sentence on average in Sweden is a time of 16 years. And he was also ordered to pay Tova's family about 180,000 SEK, which rounded up is equivalent to 17,000 US dollars or 15,000 euros or 13,000 Great British pounds as of a couple weeks ago.
Okay, but that's a very small
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
180,000 SEK. Like, woo! No, it's not a lot at all. Like,
Yeah.
fucking minuscule. Barely covered. Well, okay, not barely covers the funeral costs, but nothing compared to what you would get in the States, because you would also get the emotional
Oh.
damage and all that other stuff. So, yeah.
But I
Anyway.
think this is like when you read news, for example, in
Yeah.
Finland, I think it is also like as emotional damage and whatever the word
Yeah.
is, and that
Yeah.
sounds like the amount I've seen a lot. So
Yeah.
like
At least in
it's
the Nordic
around that.
countries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you don't
Yeah.
make them pay that much money.
Yeah.
But
in the
I
States,
mean, of
you
course,
pay for the rest of
the
your life,
value.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, okay, not really, but I mean, some of the amounts are like, anywhere from 250,000 to 1 million or more, depending on the case. And yeah, so
I
Yeah, I
guess
think
most
they
people
could.
can't even pay it.
yeah, usually
Yeah.
not.
Then what happens? Do they put you to prison again, or
Well, then, yeah, if you ever get
then
out,
your
then they
sentence
can,
maybe? Yeah.
they can collect your payments if you ever get a job, for instance. And yeah, there's other ways of collecting money. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, of course, in 2018, Billy appealed this judgment of the, murder, assault, illegal coercion, illegal threats, because he says he didn't do it. Yeah. And
Oh,
his lawyer,
so what is his theory? Like, who did it then?
I don't know, maybe she tied herself to a wheelbarrow and duct taped herself and, like, kind of scooted herself in the wheelbarrow down to the lake. I don't fucking know.
And then for some reason burned Billy's clothes in the barrel.
Yeah, and also some footprints going directly to the barrel, and and beat herself in the head 20 times, and yeah, makes perfect sense if you think about it that way, right? Yeah.
Or like, is he saying that it was just a random person who was just kind of walking in the area that night?
Probably. That sounds
Or
most likely.
Mhm.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
Wow. Yeah.
His lawyer said that, yeah, there's no evidence tying him to the murder, and there's lots of things that it could have happened during that night, and doesn't necessarily mean it was Billy. So indeed, it's kind of insinuating that between the time that she left Billy's place, someone could have taken her and killed her, and
Brought her back to the same place to
yeah,
put her in the lake.
yes, yeah. But
I mean, sure.
yeah, but I mean, 2 years later. So 2020, he finally does confess, though, in a documentary. So not to actual like police or anybody tied to the case, but it was in this documentary. And I don't know if I want to butcher Swedish, but the Huvudet på en mördare is the in the mind of a murderer is the English translation. And he also takes his admission of assault like back, because okay, so this is a bit like a bit confusing. So he admitted that he assaulted Tova, right? And he thought that if he admitted a little bit to some of the minor crimes, it would show that he was telling the truth about him not being implicated in the murder. So he's like, yeah, I assaulted her, but I didn't murder her. Like, kind of
Hmm.
plead guilty for the minor thing, but not for the major thing, because they could prove that he had assaulted her in the past and assaulted
Hmm.
her. Like, yeah, so they could prove that, but they still couldn't prove the murder technically. So yeah, he thought he would, this would make his plea of innocence a bit easier to swallow, in the eyes of the law, but that wasn't the case. Yeah. So that was the tragic case of Tova Moberg, and yeah, so Billy is hopefully gonna be there for at least the 16 years, at least
I mean,
16
that's
on
the
average
average,
years.
so it could
Yeah, average.
be a lot
Yeah.
longer too. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's take like from 2017-ish to 16 years later. Okay, so he could at the earliest get out at 2033, but hopefully it's much longer than that, because I mean, this guy obviously has some fucking rage issues, right?
Hmm.
He
Yeah.
has a hatred towards women. He is a horrible person. I'm not even going to compare him to an animal, because animals are nicer than this. So,
Yeah. I don't know. Kind of seems to me like the type of personality that's a little bit difficult to rehabilitate.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
well,
Yeah. I
let's
mean,
hope for the best.
with anger management or something like that, sure, you can get rid of a lot of the issues, but with him being so controlling and so, like, where was his mom at also? Like, didn't seem like he had much of a, I'm just speculating here, this is complete conjecture, of course, but he had a father, and the father let him live alone in his own house, in quite a big house, it looked like. But did he have a mother in his life? Did he hate women because of that? I just kind of want to know the psychology behind, like,
Hmm.
why he was so against women and them being on their own and having autonomy, and yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
sure, there could be something like that behind it, but of course, no excuse, but still.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that Tova's family is, like, I don't know, doing well, as well as you can, like, after your daughter is murdered horrendously, but yeah, justice for Tova at least was seen, and it was quite a open and closed case, which was lucky it wasn't drawn out for years and years and years. I mean, I'm glad he finally confessed, but like, to confess in a documentary and not be like, okay, sorry, police, I lied. I just want to get this really off my chest. He probably also did it so he can get parole eventually. Like, see, I admitted to my crime eventually, So I
And
think
like
it's all just,
also confessing in a documentary, it's a little bit
yeah.
like a narcissistic trait, maybe,
Mhm.
Yes.
just to kind of,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
So,
attention. Yeah, what's our advice? I don't know what should other people do in this situation? If you see something, say something.
yes.
Probably. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't
See
help
something, say
cover up stuff
something.
like this.
And just be aware, like, if you feel like you're in a narcissistic relationship or an abusive relationship, do a safe search, or like incognito search on your phone, like, and I don't know, either search for help or search for like traits or characteristics, and then they have like these tests that you can be like, I think I'm in an abusive relationship, and then you can kind of go down the list and be like, they do this, and like,
Mm.
if you're questioning yourself, you're not crazy. If you have any doubts that you're in an abusive relationship, you are in an abusive relationship, so
Yes,
just try to
exactly.
Yeah.
seek
That's what
help.
I wanted to add here. Like, if
Yeah.
you have to think about it, it's not worth it. Like,
Yeah.
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 And I also
there's no
mean it for the
like
people
people
around
put
the victim.
too much value.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Go.
and yes, yes. And the people, like, if you find that, your friend is dating a person and they're suddenly not wanting to be your friend anymore, stay close to them still. Like, try to, like, okay, so for instance, I don't know, I had a situation with a friend who might have been like in an abusive relationship, and I was like, I try not to bad talk the partner, try to stay in everybody's good graces, because you don't want to feel like you're a threat to their relationship, but you're taking notes. You're taking stock of everything, and if something needs to be done, you're ready to like have a plan to get them out and support them, and like support them financially or even physically with some, apartment or something, like just trying to help them as much as possible basically, but just trying to stay
Yeah.
close and try not to be outspoken too much against the significant other is my advice. But even if you
It can
fucking
be
hate their guts
things like,
because you
hey,
do, yeah.
yeah. You can just say like kind of neutral things like, hey, if
Mm,
anytime you need a place to stay, just call me, even in middle of
yeah,
night. Like you don't
yeah,
you need to point it like if your boyfriend starts hitting you, but like if you just
yeah.
want your own space, my soul air.
Yeah, exactly. I'll drive 2
Yeah.
hours to come and get you. Like, no worries. In the middle of the night, whatever you want. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And especially if you see stuff like, I don't know, these kind of text messages and whatever,
Mm.
don't help cover it up, but
Yeah, report it. Be like, hey, because I
Mm.
mean, obviously, yeah, I just report it to the police. The police don't have to do anything, but at least they have a record of it,
hmm
on file. So just keep the receipts, man. Just keep the receipts. So, ugh, poor
yeah,
Tova.
but very sad case. But thank
Yeah.
you for bringing it to us.
So who is going next?
It's me, I think. And
Yeah.
of course, I haven't decided for sure about the next case, but I have a couple of ideas.
Mhm.
One is kind of organized crime related. There's another one that's kind of a mysterious disappearance. And then a third one about some that's related to suicide. So you might know which one that is. I think we talked about it a little bit. I haven't
Yeah.
really decided which one it will be, but probably one of those three. And
I mean, I'm
from
leaning
Hungary.
towards the suicide one, but because I think I know what it is. But
Yeah,
yes.
it's that one, but it depends on if I find, I guess, enough information. That's
Mm.
interesting to tell.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Looking forward to hearing that next time.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, for the listeners, you can follow our Instagram, listen to our past episodes that are all there. I think we have like 30 something episodes. Yeah, you can also write us an email and suggest cases if you have something. Just even throw up random country cases and we'll see if we can cover it with our weird coverage of languages that we know. Yeah, so you can do that at translationmurderpodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, keep listening, please. See you next time, or well, I'll see you, but you know what I mean. Hei paralla.
Bye.
Bye.